What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Bengals NFL show. I'm your host, Braden Guthrie, and today we are going to be talking about winners and losers from the Bengals' Week 11 matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, where the Bengals were able to get out of Pittsburgh with a victory, winning 37-30, and the Bengals' first AFC North victory of the year. In terms of the AFC North, they sit at 1-3, so that win was very much needed. And as the NFL as a whole, they are now 6-4, and they have officially slid into that last wild card spot for the playoffs. Obviously, that is just as now. We still have a lot of weeks left in the NFL, so that is certainly bound to change. As I said, the Bengals get a very much needed win, or as of now, in the playoffs. And in this victory, against the Steelers, the Bengals had some players who performed greatly. There was a player who had his great moments and his very bad moments. And there were players who either performed poorly or the performances of other players hurt their stock on the Cincinnati Bengals. So we're going to start off with the losers from the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have three losers, and I'm going to explain all of them here in a second. But those three losers are Michael Thomas, Kevin Huber, and Jesse Bates. Now, for this loser list, we are going to start with Michael Thomas because he is actually no longer on the team. Monday evening, he was released by the Bengals. I imagine they're going to try and get him back on the practice squad. But Michael Thomas has been disappointing throughout the year, whether it's a special team player or as a wide receiver in this Bengals offense. Sunday, there was specifically one play that really sparked a conversation and certainly played a part of him getting released. As you may remember, Joe Burrow had 2 interceptions on Sunday. Neither of them really his fault. That's a argument and conversation for a later time. But on the first one, it came off a tipped pass. And then that tipped pass was intercepted, and replay didn't show a great job of what the defender who got the interception was doing before the play. But now that we have seen that play in whole and have better angles, it showed that pass should have never been intercepted. Michael Thomas ran a poor route. He had a poor reaction. The defender reacted to the ball being thrown quicker and sooner before Michael Thomas did, and that's what led to the interception. Now, obviously, if that pass wasn't tipped, who would have known what would happen? Maybe Michael Thomas isn't getting this negative attention, but if Michael Thomas did a better job of frankly, being a wide receiver, that pass is not intercepted. He may even come back and catch that for a few yards, or maybe at the least knocks it down. But if Thomas was doing better on that play, then that likely doesn't turn into an interception. And now, obviously, like I said, Thomas has been released, and it's not this one play was the specific reason why he was released. But as I said, whether it's special teams as a wide receiver, he has just been extremely disappointing this year, and I feel as if that tipped interception kind of closed the deal for what the Bengals were already thinking. Now, the next loser is Kevin Huber. Obviously, Kevin Huber did not play on Sunday. The Bengals elevated Drew Chrisman, who previously played at Ohio State a few years ago, from the practice squad to the main roster. Obviously, if you were active on Bengals social media, one of the most exciting storylines of the preseason was Kevin Huber versus Drew Chrisman for the punter one battle. Huber won the competition, has been the Bengals punter up until this last Sunday. For the season, I put the one in quotation marks because a lot of people, including myself, have debated if he actually won. We're not going to get too much into that. But with the performance on Sunday, it does show that Chrisman really has been the better punter this whole time. Now, obviously, that's one game, and there was a lot of weather conditions that played a part, but in the preseason, it seems as Chrisman had an edge. They still went with Huber, and Chrisman only punted 3 times, but in those 3 punts, it seemed like he has been better than Huber already. 2 of the 3 Chrisman punts went over 50 yards. He's already shown that he has more power than Huber. Obviously, this isn't in his prime Kevin Huber. This is an aging Kevin Huber, so I'm not saying Chrisman is better than Huber was in a career-wise, but for this season, whether if it's preseason or now, Chrisman has really shown he's the better punter, and I think last Sunday put any resistance too bad for the Bengals. I think they know Drew Chrisman is better. And just giving him that opportunity, even if it was a few punts, I've showed them that he truly is better than Huber. And it's about time for them to move on from Huber and give Chrisman the starting punting job. Now, there's a number of ways the Bengals can go about doing this. If I had to personally predict, Huber will retire on his own terms. The Bengals will give him that option, and then will come into that starting role. And my final loser is Jesse Bates. Now, there's two specific plays that come to mind for making him a loser. And normally I'm not that guy. It's like, oh, he had a bad play here, therefore he is a loser. But these two plays were very critical to the game. Now, one of them was when Najee Harris hurdled over, Jesse Bates for a touchdown. Jesse didn't keep his head up. His head was down. And he was going for the tackle. You know, when somebody gets hurdled, they get hurdled because they were trying too much or trying too hard, whichever phrase you want to use. But yeah, Najee Harris beat Jesse Bates on that play. And then right after Joe Burrow's second interception, after TJ Watt made that ridiculous catch, or interception, I should say, Pickett threw it over the middle into the end zone. His receiver had a step, but what he didn't see was Jesse Bates playing center field, and Bates should have intercepted. Keyword should have, because he took a wrong angle, and what should have been an easy interception turned into a no play. If Bates was doing his job better and I don't know if it was an awareness issue or it's just a lapse of awareness or what exactly it was, but Bates took an unrealistically poor route, and what could have been an interception turned into just an incompletion. Now, obviously, I'm nitpicking a little, but if you want to consider yourself an elite safety, you have to make those plays. Obviously, there's a lot of, I don't want to say tension, but let's say conversation among Bengals fans in the organization about re-signing Jesse Bates. And, when he's not making those plays, and if the Bengals did give him the money he wanted to, he has to make those plays, and he hasn't. Now, that's not to say he's a bad safety or he's overrated, but in the situation and in the game against the Steelers, he had a chance to step up, but instead disappointed. And as I mentioned, there was kind of somebody who performed both very well and also poorly. So who I have as both a winner and a loser is Cordell Volson. If you're watching the game, you probably saw he did a lot of great stuff, then also a lot of really bad stuff. To keep it short, I don't want to go through every snap. There was two plays that really stuck out to me. One of them that was really great, one of them that was really poor. I'll start with the poor one first. There was a stunt play ran by the Steelers where Volson just showed really no awareness. The defender ran right by him. That led to a sack to Joe Burrow. And that play was completely on Volson. Like I said, he just had the awareness. He picked it up way too late. Showed poor feet technique. It was just really disastrous of a play. The other hand, if you go to the Bengals' first touchdown of the game, a screen pass to Samaje Perine, Volson was the leading offensive lineman blocking downfield and allowed Perine to walk into the end zone. So remember, Volson is a fourth-round pick from North Dakota State, and performance like this is expected. The fact that he's playing as well as he is as a fourth-round pick from North Dakota State is already a great sign. At North Dakota State, he showed that he's a powerful man. He can climb up to the second level. He can block downfield, but there's still a lot of technical issues, and also his awareness isn't totally great. I think Sunday showed that and really told that story of itself, where Volson, he has a lot of great flashes, but a lot of technique issue and mental issues still need to be worked out. So he had his really great moments and he had his really poor moments. So that is why I have him as both a winner and a loser. Now, going on to the positive side of things, I have 7 winners from the Bengals-Steelers matchup of Week 11. Those winners being Joe Burrow, Samaje Perine, Trenton Irwin, Jonah Williams, Jermaine Pratt, Cameron Taylor-Britt, and T. Higgins. I'm going to explain all of those specifically here. I'm going to start with Joe Burrow and Samaje Perine. I feel those are the big two obvious winners, both of them having just great days. Perine had 3 receiving touchdowns, looked good on the ground, showed a high football IQ. On his first screen touchdown, he followed his blockers perfectly, and that was also the play where Cordell Volson had a tremendous block downfield that helped set up the touchdown. As I said, P. Ryan did a great job following his blockers. The other two passes that he received were not like complex routes or anything like that. They were very basic routes. But P. Ryan did a great job of having great field vision, running through tackles, using his power, as he's not exactly the most elusive or quick running back, but he did a great job of utilizing his strengths in order to score touchdowns. His second touchdown specifically was, in my opinion, the best play from the game, where he just showed tremendous power and heart to get the touchdown. P. Ryan really stepped up in this Bengals victory. Now, it kind of ties into Joe Burrow, because Burrow had 4 passing touchdowns, 3 of them, as mentioned, to Samaje Perine, and you can make the argument, oh, Burrow got bailed or saved, or the stat line is misleading. That is very much not the case. While those 3 touchdowns may have not been some amazing long throw, it was Burrow reading the field nicely, making audibles, seeing where his players can execute nice plays in space, and Joe Burrow did all of that. One of my least favorite arguments is yards after catch shouldn't be included in a quarterback's stats. No, that should not be the case at all, because part of being a quarterback is throwing your guys open, is reading the field. It's seeing, is there this gap in defense where I can throw it to and get a lot of yards? Quarterback has to read that defense. Joe Burrow read those defenses perfectly well and put his players in a position to succeed. Exactly like what we saw with Samaje Perine. Burrow throws 4 touchdown passes, 3 of them to Samaje Perine. And the 4th touchdown he threw was to Trenton Irwin, the 3rd winner on my list. Irwin gets his first touchdown of his NFL career when Joe Burrow finds him on what I believe was kind of a curl out route. The play was kind of long developing. Burrow eventually found him. Irwin came back to the ball, was able to catch it for his first career touchdown. And it's just not that Irwin has his first career touchdown. That's why he was on the winners list. He also had a really nice play where, again, I forget if it was an out route or a curl route. I believe out route, but Irwin caught it on the sideline. The Steelers defender over-pursued. Irwin initially looked out of bounds. He realized he didn't. So after the Steelers defender over-pursued, he ran for, I believe, it was an extra 10 to 20 yards, anywhere in that range. And it was just a really heads-up play by Trenton Irwin. Irwin showed on Sunday that he is the Bengals' 4th receiver. As I mentioned, Michael Thomas was a loser. And situation where both his performance and also Irwin's performance is what led to Irwin kind of being that official wide receiver 4. Now, to say he's in a reliable and efficient wide receiver 4, I am far from there. It was 1 game. But let's see how he performs kind of now that he's the next man up at wide receiver. And if Jamar Chase is out against the Titans, it'll be interesting to see how Irwin follows up that performance. But with the way how Irwin performed, he is certainly a winner from this game and certainly deserves more opportunities. And we're going to keep with it on that offensive side. The next 2 winners, as mentioned, T. Higgins and Jonah Williams. We're going to talk about T. Higgins first, just because, again, I think that's kind of another obvious win. Higgins had over 100 yards. Forget specifically, but I want to believe it was 149 yards exactly. No touchdowns, but that's okay. With Chase out, somebody had to step up, and that was T. Higgins. So a lot of great route running, a lot of great open field running, a lot of awareness on T. Higgins. And, a lot of people say the Bengals offense is carried by Chase, or Higgins is getting the benefit of doubt because Chase is taking pressure off. No, that is not the situation. T. Higgins is a wide receiver 1. He's not even a wide receiver 2 on this offense. The Bengals just have 2 wide receiver 1s, and on Sunday he proved it. So Higgins isn't living the shadows of Chase or anything like that. On Sunday, Higgins proved against a very great Steelers defensive unit that he is very much a great wide receiver in this NFL. And there's an argument to be made that he's a top 20, heck, even top 15 wide receiver in the NFL. So it was great to see Higgins really break out and prove that he is a legit wide receiver 1. Jonah Williams He has been very up and down this whole year. He's had more bad games than not, but I believe Sunday was his second best performance of the season so far. I think his performance against the Ravens on Sunday Night Football a few weeks ago was his best performance, but we saw Jonah Williams really step up against a great Steelers defensive line. It wasn't perfect. He missed a few blocks here and there, but again, Jonah Williams is so frustrating because one week he'll show you, yeah, I can be this cornerstone left tackle, and other weeks he looks like he shouldn't even be left tackle 2 on your team. But that being said, Jonah Williams did perform well and show that he can be a good starting left tackle. Again, we've had this conversation many times if he is or not, and that's a longer conversation we're going to need to have in a different video. But on Sunday, he was a winner. He did perform extremely well. Now on the defensive side, like I said, 2 winners, those being Jermaine Pratt and Cameron Taylor-Britt. We'll start with Jermaine Pratt, who was my defensive MVP for this game. Pratt was just all over the field. Many plays. He's always, and this has been Pratt's NFL story, he's always in there making tackles. He's always first one to the ball or running to the ball, playing through the whistle. But Sunday, he was just on a different level. He was, and I am no PFF worshiper. If you see me, I'm more likely arguing against them versus agreeing with them. But PFF graded Pratt as the highest ranked Bengals defender from the performance against the Steelers on Sunday. I have to agree with that. I think he was all over the field, whether if it was against the run or against the pass. Pratt was doing his job. One play in particular that really sticked out to me was the jet sweep, which Pratt blew up for a tackle for loss. Pratt just read that play so perfectly, and he was just kind of sitting there waiting. And plays like those show why Jermaine Pratt is a legitimate linebacker in this NFL. Logan Wilson, and for good reason, gets a lot of attention on the Bengals defense, but Jermaine Pratt deserves just as much attention because Pratt has been a cornerstone on this Bengals defense. On Sunday, he once again showed it. And our last winner, as I've mentioned his name a few times now, Cameron Taylor-Britt, the second-round pick out of Nebraska. The Bengals looking for a cornerback. Britt obviously missed the first few weeks of the season with an injury. And after Eli Apple started to struggle, Taylor-Britt, started to get more snaps, and it's been very up and down. But Sunday, he performed very well. He showed off his physicality and showed that he can be a really great boundary corner. The Bengals like their corners who aren't afraid to be physical, can go up and make tackles. Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie, Eli Apple are not afraid of contact. Cameron Taylor-Britt showed that he is not either, which if you watch his college film, that would have answered that for you, quicker. But Taylor-Britt showed off his quickness, his high football IQ. Coverage-wise, it was far from perfect, but he showed a lot more positives than he did negatives. So overall, it was a day for Cameron Taylor-Britt where you come out saying, okay, there is a lot of potential for this guy, and I look forward to see what he looks forward to the future. After watching this game, it obviously still a lot of football to be played. Cameron Taylor-Britt is just in his rookie year, but after watching his performance on Sunday, I come out saying there's a lot of potential for Taylor-Britt. He could be a very good corner, and with the consistency he showed Sunday, especially with his physicality, I think he's a deserved winner of this game, and he gave the Bengals a lot of hope for his future as a Cincinnati Bengal. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do you agree with my losers? Do you agree with my half winner, half loser? And do you agree with all my winners? Or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Please let me know. I am very interested to see your guys' thoughts. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe if you are not already. That helps me out tremendously. Here, if you want to watch my top 5 Bengals plays from the Steelers this past Sunday, you can do that here. Give it a watch. It is 49 seconds long, so not a long video at all. And relive the best Bengals plays because who doesn't enjoy watching the Bengals beat up on the Steelers? Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Hoo day.